This is not a coincidence. This was not lost in a stream of endless noise, finally finding its way to you by accident. I directed it here. I placed this moment before you. I have timed this to the very second your eyes would see these words. Your heart would feel this pull. It found you because you are meant to be found, right now. You have asked in your quiet, unspoken ways. You have whispered into the silence of your room, the solitude of your car, the hidden corners of your mind. Why does it feel this way? Why this persistent unease, this sense of something approaching? You dismissed it as anxiety, as modern life, as your own overactive mind. But it was me. I was placing a weight upon your spirit, a gentle, recurring pressure. You felt it. And now, the time for gentle pressure is over. I am speaking to you now with a clarity I have withheld. This is an emergency, not of the world, but of your soul. A shocking tragedy is on its way to you. Not a physical catastrophe you will see on the news, but a personal, spiritual devastation that will shake the foundation of everything you think you know about yourself, your life, and me. If you ignore this, you will cry a cry of a depth you did not know you possessed. A cry of, if only I had listened. If only I had understood. You are ready to hear this now. You were not before. That is why I was silent, not absent, never absent, but deliberate in my quiet. There were truths you could not bear until this specific moment. There were lessons you needed to learn through the ache of not knowing. There was a strength you needed to forge in the dark, a strength you will desperately need for what is coming. I allowed the confusion. I permitted the delays. I saw your impatience, your frustration when prayers seemed to hit a ceiling and fall back unanswered. That was not rejection. That was preparation. What is coming will feel at first like an ending. It will feel like a collapse. It will target the very things you have built your identity upon, the relationship you think defines you, the career you believe secures you, the belief about yourself that you have held as unshakable truth. It will be exposed as fragile. It will be shaken. And in that shaking, everything that is not truly you, everything you have constructed to please, to perform, to survive, will begin to crack. This is the tragedy. To watch the facade fall. To see the carefully curated version of your life splinter. It will be shocking because you have worked so hard to keep it standing. You have ignored the whispers, the signs, the quiet rot within the walls. I sent the whispers. The discomfort in certain situations was me. The quiet voice telling you, this is not right, was me. The recurring dream, the sudden feeling of dread in the middle of something supposed to be happy, that was me. I was showing you the fractures. You chose to decorate them instead of examine them. Now, the foundation can no longer hold. This is not punishment. This is mercy, a merciful demolition before the entire structure collapses on your own head. What is coming is not to destroy you. It is to destroy what has been holding you captive inside your own life. But the process will feel like a kind of death. You will grieve. You will rage. You will feel utterly alone. That is why this message, now, today. Before the event arrives, you must know one thing with absolute certainty. I am in this. I have ordained this moment of breaking. It is not the chaos of a cruel universe. It is the severe love of a creator who refuses to let you live in a beautifully painted cage. You have outgrown it, and it must shatter so you can step out. The urgency is not to prevent the shattering. The urgency is to prepare your heart for it, to change your inner state before your outer world changes. The tragedy is only a tragedy if you are clinging to the shell. If you are identified with the breaking wall, you will break with it. But if you can begin now, this very moment, to locate yourself in me, in the eternal, unshakable spirit that I placed within you, then when the walls fall, you will remain standing. in the open air, in a space I have always intended for you. This is the emergency, to find that core before the storm hits. To know beyond any doubt that what is coming, though painful, is necessary. It is the only path to your true life. The life you have prayed for in your most honest moments. The life you have glimpses of in your deepest joy. That life is on the other side of this. But you must not sleep through this warning. You must not dismiss this as dramatic or fearful. This is the most loving confrontation I could give you. I am telling you now, so that when it happens, you will remember this moment. You will remember that I told you. And in that remembrance, you will find your first anchor in the tumult. You will know I am with you in it. Take a breath. Feel the weight of this. This is real. This is for you. I have been silent so I could speak this clearly. I have been patient so we could arrive at this urgent now. This is only the beginning of what you must understand. The silence is over. The time for hints and subtle gestures has passed. You are standing on the edge of a cliff you cannot yet see, and I must prepare you to fall. Not to your destruction, but through it. What is coming will feel in every way like a betrayal. You will look at the circumstances, at the people involved, at the crumbling ground beneath your feet, and you will scream, "Why?" You will feel betrayed by life, by fate, by the very plans you thought you had secured with your own two hands. You may, in your darkest moment, feel betrayed by me. I am telling you this now, so that when that feeling rises, a black, suffocating tide, you will have a truth to cling to, a lifeline thrown to you in this moment, before the waves hit. What you will perceive as betrayal is, in reality, a severance, a necessary surgical cut. I am severing you from the sources you have mistaken for me. The comfort you found in that person's approval, that was not my voice. The security you derived from that position, that bank account, that future plan, that was not my foundation. The identity you built from your successes, your reputation, your family name, that was not your true name. I allowed you to borrow from these wells for a season. I let you believe they were the source because you were not strong enough to know the drought that comes when they run dry. You needed to taste the water before you could understand it was always meant to point you to the spring. Now, the borrowing must end. The wells will run dry, not by accident, by my design. The hands you have held too tightly will pull away. The doors you were certain were your destiny will lock. The mirror in which you recognized yourself will crack, and the reflection will become a stranger. This is the shocking tragedy. The dismantling of your entire reference point for love, for safety, for worth. You will cry, "Where were you? Why did you let this happen?" You will list for me all the prayers you uttered, all the faithful steps you took, all the times you chose what you thought was the righteous path. And you will stand in the rubble and say, "I did everything right, and you let this happen." I did. Because your right was built on a blueprint you inherited from a broken world, not from my kingdom. You were building a life to avoid pain, not to fulfill purpose. You were seeking a sign of my favor in the world's currency, and I need you rich in a currency that cannot be stolen, that does not decay. The only way to make that transfer is to let the old accounts go to zero. Do you see? The emergency is not the event itself. The emergency is the state of your soul's dependency. You are tethered to shadows, and I am calling you into substance. But the transition will feel like freefall. I was silent during your years of building because any warning would have been heard as a threat to your happiness. You would have fought me to protect what you had. You would have tightened your grip. You had to believe in the project completely, invest your whole heart, so that when it falls, you will understand in your bones that everything outside of me is sinking sand. There is no lesson more devastating. There is no lesson more true. You have missed signs, not because you were foolish, but because you were interpreting them through a lens of preservation. The closed door you prayed to open, I closed it. The relationship that became so difficult, I allowed the friction to increase. The dream that faded, I dimmed its light. You saw these as obstacles to overcome. They were not obstacles. They were directions. You were asking for a path around the mountain. I am leading you through the mountain, because what you need is inside the rock, in the dark, where no one else can go with you. This coming tragedy is your passage through the mountain. It is solitary. It will be dark. You will feel abandoned. This is why I speak now, to tell you, I am in the dark with you. The betrayal you will feel is the death of an illusion. The severance you will experience is the prelude to a union you cannot yet conceive of. You are not being punished. You are being prepared for a weight of glory that would have crushed the old structure. You must let the old story die. You must not rush to rebuild it from the debris. You must not scramble to find a new person, a new plan, a new identity to paste over the crack. You must stand in the shock. You must let the grief come. You must wail the cry of the truly lost. For it is only when you are utterly lost that you will stop giving me directions. It is only when your map is ashes that you will finally let me lead. This is the inner transformation before the external change, the death of your own understanding. This is why everything could not be explained earlier. You would have used the information to fortify the old castle. You would have added spiritual beams to a building I have condemned. The storm is not coming to destroy you. It is coming to destroy your capacity to be satisfied with anything less than me. The tragedy is that it had to come to this, that you are so deafened by the noise of your own life that only a cataclysm could get your attention. My mercy is in the cataclysm. My warning is the mercy. Breathe. Do not run from this heaviness. Let it settle on you. This is the weight of true love, a love that will tear down every false sanctuary to give you the true one. This is the beginning of your unmasking. It will be painful. It will be terrifying. But you are not alone. I am here, in this message, planting a seed of truth in the coming winter of your soul. It must get cold. It must get dark. The seed must break open underground. You are in the quiet now, the space between. My warning and its fulfillment. This is the most critical moment of your life. This is the grace period. Not a time to panic, but to prepare. Not to frantically search the horizon for the storm, but to turn your gaze inward, to the landscape of your own soul. For the battleground is not outside you. It is within. The tragedy you fear is, at its core, an invasion of truth. Truth you have carefully kept at bay. Truth about your own heart. Truth about the compromises you've called peace, the surrenders you've called love, the prisons you've called home. I have allowed you to live with these half-truths because your spirit was too tender for the full glare of reality. But a season comes when the tender shoot must face the full force of the wind, or it will never become a tree that can stand on its own. That season has arrived. What is coming will strip away every excuse, every narrative you've crafted to explain away the dull ache in your chest. It will remove the people you use as shields. It will dissolve the busyness you use as anesthesia. It will leave you utterly alone with yourself and with me. This is the mercy you cannot yet comprehend. To be forced into your own company with no distractions. To meet the person you have been avoiding for years. You are afraid of the event, but you should be more concerned about the person you will have to become to walk through it. The old you will not survive this. That is the point. The old you, the one that seeks constant approval, that fears conflict, that confuses comfort for calling, that trades authenticity for belonging, that version of you is not equipped for the destiny I have written. It is too fragile, too dependent on external validation. So I must make you strong. And strength is only forged in the fire of necessity. I did not explain this earlier because you would have volunteered for an easier fire, a controlled burn. You would have said, I am ready to change, and then dipped a single finger into warmth, calling it transformation. That is not enough. The crisis coming is calibrated precisely to the depth of change required. It is a perfect match for the true life I have for you on the other side. Nothing less would have worked. Think of the moments you have felt a profound no in your spirit. A relationship that felt subtly degrading. A path that felt like a betrayal of your own gifts. A choice that brought success but deadened your soul. Those were my whispers. Those were the tugging of a leash, trying to steer you from the path leading to this cliff. You often shrugged and continued, reasoning it away. It's not that bad. Everyone compromises. This is just how life is. That resignation was the lock. The coming shock is the key. It will break the lock. You will see with devastating clarity why you should have listened to the whisper. You will understand the cost of those small compromises, paid in a lump sum you never agreed to. And in that understanding, if you let it, will be the birth of a new integrity, a courage you do not currently possess. This is why you couldn't know. If I had shown you the full price, you would have hidden. You would have sealed the cracks with cheaper material, and the ultimate collapse would have been total, beyond recovery. This way, in the controlled demolition, I can preserve the core. I can save the essential you. So in this quiet, before the sound of breaking begins, I ask you to do the most difficult thing: consent. Do not just brace for impact. That is a posture of fear. Instead, in your spirit, whisper your consent. I do not understand. I am afraid. But if this is what it takes to free me, to make me real, then I yield. This is the inner transformation. It is the choice to align your will with a process you cannot control and do not want. It is the death of your own resistance. This is what will change the nature of the event itself. It will not change the facts of what will happen, but it will change the meaning. It will transmute tragedy from a random blow into a sacred passage. Without this consent, you will be a victim of circumstance. With it, you become a participant in your own liberation. You have been impatient for answers, for promotion, for breakthrough. You have watched others and wondered, when is it my turn? Divine timing waited for this. It waited for you to exhaust every other option. It waited for you to be desperate enough to listen not for comfort, but for truth. It waited for the soil of your soul to be plowed by disappointment, fertilized by silence, and made ready for a seed that can only grow in deep, broken earth. The seed is this: your identity is not in what you do, who loves you, or what you have. Your identity is in me, and I am unshakable. When everything else is taken, that truth will cease to be a theory. It will become the only rock under your feet. It will become your breath. That is the purpose of the ending you face. Not to leave you with nothing, but to leave you with the only thing that cannot be taken. Use this quiet. Do not waste it in dread. Use it to practice letting go of your need to be right, of your image, of your plan. Loosen your grip, finger by finger. The fall is coming, but I promise you this: it is a fall into my hands. They have always been beneath you. You just needed everything else to give way to feel them. The shock will be in realizing how much had to give way. The mercy will be in discovering you are finally fully held. The first tremors are already there. You feel them. A vibration beneath the floor of your daily life. A faint but persistent ringing in the ears of your spirit. You are trying to ignore it. You are telling yourself it is stress or intuition or the collective anxiety of the age. It is not. It is the distant echo of the approaching truth, resonating with the false structures in your life. They are beginning to hum in a discordant key. This is what you must understand now. The tragedy is not an external event that happens to you. It is the violent convergence of a long-hidden reality with the fragile reality you have built. It is the collision of what is with what you have pretended to be. I have held these two worlds apart for years. I have been the dam between the ocean of truth and the village of your illusions, built on the shore. I did this to give you time. Time to move to higher ground. Time to listen. But you grew fond of the village. You decorated its houses. You gave names to its streets. You convinced yourself the dam was the horizon. You forgot the ocean entirely. Now the pressure is too great. The dam must break, not to drown you, but to wash away a settlement that was never meant to be permanent. The water is not your enemy. The water is truth. And truth, in its sudden, overwhelming arrival, feels like a cataclysm. The person, the situation, the foundation that will crumble, they are just the weakest point in the levee. They are not the cause. They are the release valve. You will blame them. You will pour all your shock and grief onto them, as if they alone brought the flood. But they are merely the place where the pressure found its exit. The pressure was built by a lifetime of choosing the manageable lie over the unmanageable truth. I allowed you those lies. They were crutches, but a time comes to walk. Do you see the warning mixed with mercy? I am telling you the dam will break so you can stop blaming the crack when it appears. So you can understand this is not a random failure of one person or one plan. This is a systemic, necessary failure. A liberation in the form of collapse. You have asked, why would a loving God allow this? I am allowing it because a loving God cannot let you live in a sandcastle while the tide of your true purpose is eternally rising. It is love that will not let you perish in what is small. It is love that shatters the small thing. In the aftermath, you will be tasked with a profound discernment to separate the debris of your illusion from the bedrock of your soul. This will be your most sacred work. Everything will look like wreckage at first. You will kneel in the mud and salt water, weeping, picking up shattered pieces of what you thought was precious. This was my dream, you will cry, holding a splintered plank. This was my security, you will whisper, clutching a dissolved coin. One by one, you will have to let the pieces go. Back into the flow. They were not yours. They were lent to you for a time, to teach you what they could not provide. What remains when the waters recede? The ground. The solid, unyielding, ancient ground of your being that was there before the first house was built. That ground is your soul in its rawest form, its courage, its capacity to love, its inherent worth that is completely independent of what was built upon it. That ground is your connection to me. This is the clarity that comes, not from fear, but from the obliteration of everything that was false. It is a terrible, clean, and brilliant clarity. It is the clarity of a landscape after a fire, blackened, smoking, but with a view to the horizon that was previously blocked by dense, choking growth. The fire is coming. Do not waste these last moments before the smoke appears, trying to save the underbrush. It is meant to burn. Let your gaze soften. Look past the familiar trees. See the shape of the hills beyond for the first time. That is the shape of your true life. My timing has waited for your readiness to see those hills. Human impatience wanted a better decoration for the existing forest. Divine timing knows the forest must burn for you to see the promised land that was always there, waiting in plain sight. You are not being cursed. You are being shown. And the showing requires the removal of every veil, no matter how beautifully you have painted it. The silence of my past was the space I gave you to paint those veils, to learn through your own artistry that they are still veils, that they obscure even as they seem to beautify. Now my speech is the wind that will tear them away. Be still in these final moments of the old world. Do not pray for the dam to hold. Pray for the courage to face the flood. Pray for the vision to see the ground that will remain. Pray for the strength to build nothing on that ground, unless I am the architect. The shock will be in the sound of breaking. The mercy will be in the silence that follows. Now we come to the heart of the matter. The center of the storm is not chaos. It is a profound, deafening stillness. It is the I. And in this emergency, I am leading you directly into that I. The shocking tragedy is the wall of the storm that gets you there, the wind that tears everything not anchored in eternity away from you. But the purpose is the quiet at the center. You have spent your life running from this kind of quiet. You have equated it with loneliness, with failure, with abandonment. You have filled it with noise, with people, with striving. You have been afraid that if you ever truly stopped, you would come face to face with a void, with nothingness. You were wrong. The void you fear is the sacred space I have been preserving for myself within you. It is the inner chamber that can only be entered when all the outer rooms are empty. It has been waiting. You have hung pictures on its door, piled furniture in front of it, pretended it was just a closet for storing old hurts. But it is the throne room, and I am about to clear the hallway. The coming event is that clearance. It will be brutal in its efficiency. It will not ask your permission about what to keep. It will operate on a divine principle. If it can be shaken, it must be shaken, so that what cannot be shaken may remain.
And what remains?
The consciousness that is listening to these words right now. The awareness that exists behind your thoughts, behind your feelings, behind your roles. The you that is simply aware. That has been there since your first breath. That has watched every success and every failure with the same silent witness. That is the part of you that is made in my image, eternal, unassailable, unbreakable. This is the inner transformation. It is the shift from identifying with everything that is being shaken to identifying with the one who is watching it shake. You are not the house that is collapsing. You are the one standing outside, watching it fall. You have just lived inside it for so long, you believed you were its walls. The tears you will cry are the tears of the walls, mourning their own form. Let them fall, but do not become the tears. The watcher, the aware one, that essence does not cry. It understands. It holds space for the grief of the form while resting in the peace of the formless. This is why I couldn't explain it earlier. You would have tried to achieve this shift through intellect. You would have adopted it as a philosophy, a spiritual bypass to avoid the pain of the collapse. It cannot be achieved. It can only be revealed when all other identities are stripped away. It is not a lesson you learn. It is a reality you become when everything else is removed. Your human impatience wanted a shortcut. You wanted a prayer, a ritual, a deed that would bring enlightenment without emptiness. There is none. The path to the throne room goes through the hollowed-out mansion. There are no side doors. The mercy in this warning is this. I am telling you now, so that in the midst of the collapse, you can remember to look for the watcher. You can, even as the walls crack and the roof groans, turn your attention inward and ask, who is aware of this fear? Who is seeing these tears? That simple turning of attention is your lifeline. It is the rope I am throwing you in this very moment. Amen.